Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you all the new legendary weapons and items in Borderlands 4's newest DLC, the Mad Ellie and the Vault of the Damned, which comes with some really cool weapons here. There are 3 pearlescent weapons alongside 10 legendary weapons. There are 4 grenades total, with 2 of them being heavy ordnances, so Amon's eating good. And we also got 2 legendary shields, 5 new class mods, so it's a new one for each of them, and then Cash also has his own class mods too. Now, there's some actually insanely powerful weapons here. Power creep is real. We're getting very strong Vault Hunters with Cash being insanely strong. On top of this, a lot of these weapons are now best in slots, so there's a lot of great new builds that'll be made. I'm going to be covering the best of them here, as some of the weapons can do some insane stuff. So we're going to first start off with the weapons here, with some weapons that I think are among the strongest. So we have the Scoot and Shoot, which is actually kind of crazy because you can get Jacobs on this and Torg to shoot either the impact or stickies, and yes, it's crazy. It also has a special ability to shoot from wherever you shot the last shot from, so you can continually keep doing extra pellets. It's kind of crazy. I'll show that off in combat in a moment, but we also have the Crow sourced here, which is actually pretty fun. It has, it's actually one of the few order weapons that are decent. My favorites, though, are the Flash Cyclone. You can even get the Cyclotron here, which gives it Ripper and Jacobs on it, so you can do some insane damage. It reminds me kind of like of the Dark Beast. And the Crazed Earl, which I think is my favorite weapon from this DLC, because it's got a cool eyeball, but you can also get Jacobs and Ripper on it, and it does insane amounts of damage. Now I'm going to first show off weapons that you can get from the Pertinent Steel here, as there's some interesting ones. So this is at this section of the map, and you got to go through and do a little puzzle to get here. But there, who drops the Flash Cyclone here, and this weapon is pretty nuts. It's an SMG, and it has Flash Freeze, which gives a chance to hit to explode and spawn additional projectiles. This is pretty huge because it also has Jacobs, and it can come with Ripper, and it shoots faster the longer you're firing it. So with infinite ammo on things like Cash here, it becomes nuts. Now we got a stinker of a weapon, our first stinker, another awful pearl, unfortunately. So all the pearls in this game come with the override, but this one comes with the adrenaline, so it deals increased damage for each ally in Fight for Your Life. You have to have friends to get the usage out of this one, so yeah, unfortunate, it's not going to be one you're going to love, and it doesn't really have that much damage to begin with, so... And the third item you can get from the Pertinent Steel is the Geiger-Roid here, which gives you the Roid Rage ability, which applies 5 stacks, which decay over time, and each time a stack expires, you do a shockwave doing 3000 damage in an area of effect. It's not like insane, but it can be a fun option. So here's what the Soul Survivor pistol looks like. So yeah, not great damage. I really wish that there was good pistols this time around. There's only one that's actually like decently useful. With our last DLC pack having some insane pistols, yeah, this one isn't like super great. It does shoot fast if you're gonna hold down the trigger, but we're not getting an insane amount of damage out of this one. But yeah, if you get your action skill and your windfall here on Cash building up, it can do some alright stuff, but it's really gonna be leveraged if you're playing with other people. Now, that is something that, again, is not gonna be the easiest, and this is a build that's quite strong, but I do think that the Flash Cyclone here is much better. So this is what this looks like here on Cash. So we're just firing it away, and it's got the Ripper and Jacobs on here, so it's going to chain around. But the best part about this is it's going to continually keep shooting faster, and it can explode, and it also has the additional projectiles. The damage from this is pretty solid overall. I'm a big fan of the Ripper Jacobs accessories. And across the board, this is a pretty fun weapon. So I think this is a decent one, especially if you're looking for a new SMG that's going to be like a pretty solid option that's got a lot of crazy stuff that it can do. Now, if you're looking at the you see there, we got our Geiger-Roid now. It does that that big explosion around you, and then you gotta look beside your health bar, and it's gonna have that, it's gonna have a little notification there for when the extra waves come out. The damage from that is not very high, so yeah, if you're looking for a rep kit that would replace the triple bypass, this is not it. Unfortunately, just due to how specializations work in this game, there's like 2 rep kits that are really worth using, and triple bypass is typically the one that I throw on most builds. Now next up we have 2 more items here. These are from Big Oil. So we got the Sunspot weapon here, which is an order pistol and it can come with Hyperion. As well, we have the Honey Badger Don't Give a Shit. This is a shield here which reduces self-damage by 90%, and that's okay. There's actually quite a few weapons in this game that do a decent bit of self-damage if you're at close range, so that could be useful. But I just don't see it replacing Watts for Dinner as best in slot. It's just not really that incredible. And now that we have level 60 shields that can get over 110,000 shield, 30k is just not that great. And to get these weapons, you're going to come to Big Oil at the very top of the map there, and it's these 2 items that are going to spawn. Here's the pistol. And as an order, you can charge it up. It has a pretty slow charge there, and you can see charging it up to full, even with an enhancement, the damage from that's not going to be insane. I have like the infinite repeating bleed for whatever reason is back in the game, and even that's not sparing this weapon. So yeah, this one is just kind of a stinker alongside the shield. I can't really say a whole lot of great stuff about either of these weapons, but they're two new ones and they could be fun if you're looking for more of a challenge. But I like the look of this gun, so I guess I give credit where it's due. And with a lot of the order weapons, you can just treat them like Jacobs and shoot really quickly with them, but they don't have the same amount of damage output. So yeah, you can see here this one's doing nothing. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Now next up are two items that you can actually get pretty early on, and this is a cool one, the laser cutter. It can come rolling with Jacobs parts, as well as it can come with Hyperion grip. It can also come with a variety of different elemental choices. You can even get a Ripper part for it, but I'm having an awful time finding it. I've been hunting and grinding these out for about 15 hours now, and I got some weapons where I have a ton of great rolls. Some of them, not the best luck, and Laser Cutter is kind of cool, the fact that it's a Dead Space reference. At first I thought it was a Binding of Isaac reference, but this is a interesting one because it's an alternative fire, and it looks like if you play Dead Space, a weapon similar to that one. And we also, from the same boss, get the Bismuth-Tipped Dagger. So this gives the Bismuth, attaches on hit, enemies will take 15% more of an elemental damage type. There's a variety of different ones that you can get here, and whenever you hit them with that, they are then again take a 15% more damage. They'll also, these daggers can crit, and the grenade has a 25% chance of dealing crit, or you can get a bunch of different rolls. This is okay. You get 8 charges, so it could stack up the damage quite a bit. I see this being an alright option, but still, crit knife is a really good choice. So here's what the laser cutter looks like. It's a pretty decent damage option. If you get the Ripper parts, it does shoot a lot faster. And there's the full auto, and then you can swap it over, and then you have the different form here, which just looks a little different in shots. So yeah, you can go ahead with this weapon. It's an okay one. As far as assault rifles go, you can see we're not taking this boss down very quickly, but it is what it is. It's an assault rifle that's different and fun. So yeah, it could be one that you may like, but I just don't find that the damage is that great, unless you're going at it with like the Jacobs slice and the Ripper parts, and even with the Ripper part giving a much faster fire speed, I just don't see the damage from this coming out very high. But I will be testing and trying to get many more rolls for these, just so I can give a better idea of their power levels here. But yeah, I just don't see this one being that strong. And here's the grenade, so it's similar to the other knives. Here you go to throw it. It is tricky to land there. We got a crit. So yeah, the more of those you can stick onto the enemy, you can then get some pretty crazy stuff. So he's got a weakness now to the radiation damage that I'm blasting away with this gun, so we actually have a great synergy here, but it's not really that crazy. As you can see, I'd rather just throw in the crit knife and use one of the more powerful weapons in this game. So yeah, laser cutter, just okay. And I mentioned it's from Corporal Brennan, but again, it's just at this location, the very start of the map. It's one of the quickest ones you can get to. And you can also get some of the new class mods, I guess, from any drop, but that's where I got mine from. Now here are some of the best weapons in the game, the Crazed Earl. So cover your ears if you don't want to hear a spoiler, but you're going to fight Crazy Earl and get this weapon alongside the Scoot and Shoot, and finally the Barb'ara weapon, or grenade. So 3 different rolls, and they're all pretty solid. So the Crazed Earl here, its big thing is that it fires shards that stick on enemies. Meleeing enemies with shards will explode the shards and send them to nearby enemies. This can make your graphics card go a little crazy, especially if you have the Ripper Jacobs one like I have here. You're going to see it gets a little nuts. But this is incentivizing you to go in and melee targets, so there's some builds that actually benefit quite a bit from this. Now we also got the slightly tempting Scoot and Shoot. This has rolled in the deep. Phantom guns fire from the locations of your previous shots. Phantom guns reset on reload. There's a lot of characters out there that don't have to reload, and this can be pretty nutty. It also can come with Jacobs parts and Torg parts, or Torg will always come naturally on it, which lets you switch between sticky or the impact grenade. But the thing with this one is there's also a Ripper part, Jacob. I was farming this for 3 hours today, and I could not find it. And I wanted to get this video out today because I was not able to get it the weekend. Also farming this game, so I know there's a Ripper Jacobs out there potentially because they don't occupy the same part slot, but I could see that being one of the best weapons from this DLC. Even without it, still one of the best weapons of this DLC. And the Barb'ara weapon here, which creates Merv grenades, and those will also create more grenades and then create little arcs. So to show off what this looks like, first I should actually mention you get it from Crazed Earl here, which is at this part of the map here. You're not going to miss this part of the main story here for the DLC. And here is the grenade, so I'm just going to throw it off there, and you see the Mervs pop off, and then 2 more pop off, and then it creates little tentacles there whenever anyone goes nearby it. Here's the shotgun, though. The shotgun is pretty crazy, so with this one here, it's going to have those additional projectiles. You can see them on certain targets. Like if you're fighting against Crazed Earl, it's actually kind of annoying to have all these on here because he's slashing around, and then all of these are like just yeah, everywhere. So you can go in there and melee them, and you can see that there it's going to jump to another target. So this is pretty fun if you're going for like a melee style build, because you can do some pretty solid damage. But even without doing that, the damage from this is kind of nuts, and it's really good against a lot of different bosses in this game. So you can see that there, and then we went in for the melee. Yeah, you saw a pretty large damage number here. This is possibly one of the best weapons in the new DLC. It's just so good. And here is the scoot and shoot. So this weapon here, I have a build here, give me infinite ammo. So this is really good on things like Vex or Rafa or Harlow, where you can just continually keep hitting away. This is the Toric sticky version. So once you get the reload there, or if you swap by pressing B to refresh that, you can see there, it's kind of like the bot where it just starts chipping away health really quickly, but you don't even have to use it that way. You can use it as an impact and it's going to be just as strong. And then, yeah, this is the impact version here. So the damage from this is pretty solid overall, but obviously there's very obvious using the stickies that are really strong. But you see this, we can actually chip away health pretty quickly here, and it's comparable between the stickies and the impact. But you see the big thing is all those ghost guns that are shooting there, so you see all those extra projectiles, it's because every time that we shoot, we're creating another ghost gun that refreshes on respawn, and it's such a cool ability here. So yeah, you can get some pretty powerful stuff going off with this, especially with infinite ammo. And next up we have a really fun sniper rifle of the Hemorrhage here, which increases the damage the further away you are from the target. And this is going to be weird when you see it in action, because it doesn't shoot normal sniper rounds, it shoots literal Splatoon ink. And also the Blood Moon here, which is going to heal for the last 5 instances of damage taken within the last 4 seconds. This is a pretty interesting one, it's a little bit different than what we've had in the past. And to get this one, you're going to come over to Colonel Crash over in this section here to find both those. So you can engage the little bipod there if you want, so that you can get the bit better aiming. But you can see here, it shoots ink, so it's a little weird to aim. So with this, it's harder to hit your shots, I find, but obviously you're still gonna aim and stuff like that. But you can see the damage from this isn't like amazing. I think this is more so like a fun weapon to use, but it's nothing that's gonna be like a game-breaking meta or anything like that. So yeah, this is a cool weapon. I like when they do different types of weapons like this that are a little different than like your normal types, but it's just not that good to use. And then if you want to use the rep kit, it's just going to heal you for any of the damage that you took, and that is kind of a nice thing to have there. So it's going to be useful in a few situations, but I still think that the triple bypass and even the war pain, some of the other rep kits are way better. But yeah, you can see we're barely even doing damage to this boss. It's kind of unfortunate. And next up we got items from the Air Raider Scremulous, which has the Prowler here, and this is a bit different than what we normally have. Bullets will slowly home in on targets, and I want to emphasize the word slowly there. You can accelerate them by reloading, but even still, it's kind of slow. They auto-aim though, so cool. It's kind of like Burt's Bees in a sense. You can also get Ripper on it, you can get different types of ammo loaders, the dataless ones, you get an all-fire shotgun. We also get the Elpis Star here. When dealing melee damage, spawn a Meteor Crusher to fall on the damaged enemy. And to find Air Raider Scremulous, you come down to the left-hand corner here. It's another one kind of like the Pendant Steel here, which is a little harder to find. But here's what it looks like. So you fire it off, and you can see those little homing in bullets. They're very slow, that's the thing. But once you reload, you're gonna see they go way faster. So it is a different type of gun. It may not be the type of gun you like using, but it's cool. Again, it's kind of like that thing where you want to have some fun, different types of weapons in this game. So that is what this one does. Here's one of the weapons, the Mantra here. You can see we're activating, because it's melee damage, you can see those meteors from our shield hitting the target. So this can be really good because I like Mantra builds. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game. I love the punching. You see little fists that hit enemies. So yeah, getting those meteors is kind of cool, but I still think Watch for Dinner ends up being better damage for my testing. Next are weapons that we can get from Cam Willis here. There's some also interesting ones. Again, I mentioned at the start the Crow Source, which is actually pretty solid. It actually references Halo 2 with "and we had to share the rock." I think that's hilarious. They also get the Reminisce shotgun, which is interesting because you get your ammo back after they go and hit the target and they return back to your gun. But if we have infinite ammo, we can continually keep shooting this. It doesn't have high damage though. And we also get the HeimDahl, and this is shooting Dahl soldier heads at nearby targets, and pretty cool. So here's the Crow Source. So it has the order, it's a little quicker, or it's not that like crazy fast to charge it up, but if you got any type of builds that set this up, this can be a pretty solid one, because yeah, you can see there, we're actually doing pretty solid damage on this boss here. So this can be one that you may find is actually kind of solid in terms of the damage output from it. But we also have our HeimDahl here, which is cool because it's going to shoot like a Dahl soldier head there. You can see it shooting at the enemy. The funny thing is with Cash's builds, it'll actually end up giving him infinite ammo, so you can just keep shooting shooting these little doll soldier heads. This is probably one of the better options in terms of actual damage output in this game now. It's actually kind of nuts. Another thing with the crow source is the bullets are different every time. So you see some of them are like little sticks, some of them do explosions. So it's kind of just a random weapon too, which I think is cool because Cash has kind of got that randomness with his fortune stacks. But yeah, you can do the single fire if you want with this gun too. You don't have to like charge it up. Obviously charging it up gives it a lot more damage, but yeah, it's a fun one. We also, here's the shotgun as mentioned, so you can see those orbs and you get the ammo back as they return to your gun. So if you're able to, you can get some infinite ammo going here, but you can see the damage is just not great from this thing. Even if it can shoot infinitely, kind of. Especially if you got to build a cashier who gets infinite ammo, just not that great. I think that the doll this is a crazy heavy ordnance. Getting these little heads here that just shoot at the target, you can see they become really annoying, especially with like a heavy ordnance aim-on build or on cash here. This is, yeah, it's chipping away that health bar really fast and doesn't require much thought because they auto-aim kind of like the Stray. And you do get those weapons by going to the very end of the DLC, so it's kind of expected. But yeah, these doll soldier heads are pretty solid. I think this is an insane new weapon. Now, there are new rifts, the nightmare rifts in this DLC, which are a pain. So I mentioned that I was farming Crazed Earl for like 3 hours earlier today. Well, I was farming these nightmare rifts, and I gotta say, their drop rates are pretty awful. So you do get unique class mods from them, and the gamer class mod, especially the cracked gamer here, is insane. This is one for cash here. So this one, whenever we critically hit an enemy with a gun, we bleed that enemy, and whenever we kill an enemy with bleed, and with a critical hit, we get a 7% chance to spawn a chaos totem, which is incredible. And while Windfall is active, we also double that chance. This comes stock with fire rate increases, which is great to have on someone like Cash here who wants to try and trigger this. And there's so many great builds that this works around because it's got skill rolls into all three. But the big thing is, the weirdest thing is, Bleed is working the same as Vex was working at the very start of Borderlands 4, where it stacks infinitely and it keeps scaling itself up. So I'm not sure, it's definitely going to get patched. I don't know how this passed through, probably communication error somewhere, but this will likely get nerfed, so I just want to point that out in advance. There's also the Hooligan class mod. There's class mods at all the previous bosses in the game for Cash as well, so I'm not really going to include those as part of this. But we can also find the Fearstalker sniper rifle here. Critical hits will grant a stack of deduction, which increases the next non-critical hit damage by 200% per stack. Non-critical hits will give a stack of observation, which will increase the damage of the next crit by 100%. This is an interesting one because, yeah, if you got an infinite crit build, you can do some weird stuff once you get that to stop, but it's not really like insanely high damage. So here's what the sniper rifle looks like. So if you're able to get crits off with this, it's going to be kind of crazy. So yeah, you can go ahead here. We have no crit, no crit, no crit. You can see the stacks there. We got ours built up. So it will give you like a little thing down beside your health bar there. So you can see, yeah, it's stacking up 2,000. That's my rep kit there. But yeah, basically every time you shoot and don't get a crit, you're going to be scaling that up even further. You can see the damage is not like insane, but it's fine. If you're able to get multiple crits in a row and then non-crit, you kind of want to do them in like almost like a chain where you get them scaled up a little bit higher. But yeah, the damage from it's okay. It's a fun weapon. I like the concept of it, but nothing like super insane here. Yeah, you can just see that there. Now, another heavy ordnance, I've seen this drop from a multitude of different locations. I've gotten it to drop from the very first boss of the DLC, the Ichor here. You can actually get all the rolls from the game from the first boss in this DLC. It is a little grindier that way. But with the Ichor here, it's an interesting one because it is dealing 2 types of damage, and you can get it to roll with a variety of different appearances here. The damage from this isn't like insane. I'm using an infinite ammo, again, cash build here, but it's okay. Being able to do 2 types of damage at once, I think, is a funny concept, but in practice, not really insane at all. But yeah, I think this one may be a rift weapon as well, but not really that great. Now we also have the weapon here, Falke, and I think this is another weapon that comes from the Nightmare Rifts here, so I have this on a different character, Rafa here. You can get them sort of ripper parts. Now the unfortunate part is these are a huge pain to farm, so they're not the ones that you're going to get many rolls of, unfortunately. So and thankfully they're not like some of the crazier weapons of the game. I really do like how this gun shoots. It has this like spiral pattern to it, but you can see there, the damage potential from this is just pretty poor. So that is something that's, yeah, it's nothing insane of a weapon. It's fun. It's different, but that's about it. This is a weapon that's not going to be very memorable, as there's just so much more that's better in this DLC. So yeah. For example, here's the Dark Beast just doing the same thing here against an enemy, and not even in the Bullet Buddy Deluxe, but yeah, there's many better weapons from the base game that just do the same thing. And my goodness, there we go. And the final weapon we have is the Unstable Core. Now, this is another one I had to find another character here. These are Nightmare Rifts, and they are a pain in the butt. This has stickies that trigger Novas, and the damage from this is pretty cool. It also has a different loader that you can use. So you can use SMG ammo, or there's a bunch of different ones here. It's going to have that basic shotgun shot here, so you can go with the shotgun, or you can swap it over to the SMG here, which you can see it has those big Novas that explode whenever you end up swapping the forms there, or end up doing a reload. So yeah, this is on an Amon build, so it's doing absolutely just piss poor damage. It's just the nature of Amon here. But yeah, this weapon is, it's got stickies here, so I do think that this does have potential just due to how crazy stickies can end up being, and on like an infinite ammo type build, because those they do damage, you see there. It does a shockwave, so it's okay. I just think that this weapon's probably one that's not as good as obviously like things like the bod. So if you want to do a sticky shotgun, you're better off doing it on another type. And the farming of this weapon is a pain in the butt just because of how annoying it is to get those Nightmare Rifts. You typically do get the weapons from them, but they're just so annoying to farm that it's just, in my opinion, not really that worth it until they have another way that just makes them a little bit easier to show up and not so grindy feeling. But I also do have one of the class mods for Amon here. You were trying to grind all these out, but the class mods are the hardest. Again, it takes many hours to get all of them here. But Amon has one where dealing gun damage grants a storm for 20 seconds, increasing shock damage, stacking up to 50 times. And this is pretty decent. Activating the forward skill causes elemental bolts to strike all nearby enemies for 10 seconds, dealing shock damage based on your shield capacity. This is a cool one. I've experimented around. It's great on lightning style builds, so it's only really good against Origo here. But I will do a separate video talking about all the class mods because there's some interesting ones here, and I just want to understand how they apply to builds first before getting into that. I should mention I got another roll of the Fearstalker here, which has COV and Jacob's parts on it. But let me know which of the DLC weapons is your favorite in the comments below. I am a huge fan of a lot of different ones here, and I think Cash is an incredible hero to play. Power creep is real on a lot of these things here, but I'm excited to hear your thoughts on them as well. And stay tuned for future Borderlands 4 content. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll catch y'all in the next one.